In recent weeks, General Hospital has been weaving together one of its most unpredictable storylines, and it now appears that Cain is at the center of a potential murder mystery. What began as subtle friction has erupted into a narrative in which Drew's actions have alienated nearly everyone in Port Charles. While Cameron Matheson has shown no signs of exiting the soap, writers have placed his character on such a collision course with disaster that viewers are left to wonder whether the show is preparing for a classic, whodunit, arc built around him. Drew's trajectory has become almost unrecognizable compared to the man he once was. For years, Drew stood as a reliable presence, a hero who anchored stories about loyalty, redemption, and second chances. But somewhere along the way, without clear explanation, his sense of morality shifted. Instead of fighting for justice or family, he has been making choices that harm both friends and foes. Betrayals, ruthless power plays, and emotional cruelty have defined his recent arc. He has hurt Carly, betrayed Willow's trust, dismantled his friendship with Curtis, and alienated Michael. Even his position as a father figure to Scout has been warped by the choices he's made. The once admired soldier and businessman has transformed into a polarizing presence so toxic that the audience itself is left questioning whether his downfall is inevitable. The very structure of soap storytelling thrives on conflict, and Drew's growing list of enemies provides fertile ground for suspense. Port Charles is brimming with characters who have reason to despise him. Carly could not tolerate further humiliation, Curtis could decide that Drew is beyond forgiveness, Willow might see him as a danger to her peace, and Michael could grow tired of his uncle's betrayals. There is even the lingering tension of those on the margins, characters who may not have the spotlight daily but carry grudges capable of driving them to drastic action. The sheer number of suspects makes it clear that if General Hospital opts for a Drew whodunit, it would be one of the most populated suspect pools in years. Yet a mystery needs more than motive, it needs a dramatic turning point. This is where the speculation becomes most intriguing. Matheson's presence on the show suggests that even if Drew becomes the victim of an attack, it will not end with his permanent departure. Instead, the writers could take advantage of a time-tested soap device, selective amnesia or a radical psychological reset. The man who has burned every bridge could suddenly wake up stripped of his recent cruelty, remembering himself only as the kind-hearted father, lover, and soldier. This would create a complex narrative where Drew seeks redemption, while everyone else remembers only the harm he inflicted. Such a twist would serve dual purposes. On one hand, it preserves Matheson in the cast, allowing the actor to remain at the center of the story. On the other, it deepens the emotional drama, since Drew would live in a space between guilt and ignorance. He would want Carly's love, not remembering the ways he hurt her. He would lean on Curtis as his best friend, not realizing the depth of their rupture. He might try to guide Michael or comfort Willow, only to be met with cold reminders of his past betrayals. The tragedy here is not only whether he lives or dies but whether he can ever rebuild trust in a community that saw him become a villain. The larger theme at play is redemption. General Hospital has always thrived on exploring whether characters who cross moral lines can find their way back. Drew's story could evolve into one of the most compelling examples. If he survives an attempted murder with no memory of his sins, does he deserve a fresh start? Can Port Charles accept a man who does not remember the very actions that drove everyone against him? The narrative tension lies in the gap between his clean slate and everyone else's inability to forget. Of course, soap operas also thrive on ambiguity. Even if Drew emerges with amnesia or a softened persona, there remains the risk of relapse. What if fragments of his darker choices begin to resurface? What if his mind fractures between the good soldier he once was and the ruthless manipulator he became? Writers could explore themes of fractured identity, leaving the audience to wonder which Drew they are watching in any given scene, the redeemed man or the lurking villain. Meanwhile, the whodunit element ensures that his storyline will not exist in isolation. Whoever takes a swing at Drew, whether physically or metaphorically, will be just as significant as Drew's recovery. If it is Carly, the story becomes one of betrayal in love. If Curtis, it is about shattered brotherhood. If Willow, it is about protecting family. And if it is Michael, the twist becomes one of a son turning against a father figure. Each possibility creates ripple effects, binding Drew's fate to the fates of nearly every major family in Port Charles. Ultimately, General Hospital is building suspense not just around Drew's survival but around what his story represents. Is it a tale of punishment, in which a once heroic figure must pay for his sins? Or is it one of renewal, in which even the most broken man can rediscover his place in the world? Viewers are being asked to confront not just what Drew has done but whether they themselves are willing to forgive. That is the essence of soap drama, the tension between past mistakes and the hope for future redemption. As the weeks unfold, all eyes will remain on Drew. If he continues down this destructive path, someone will eventually strike back. Whether he emerges with scars, with amnesia, or not at all, one thing is certain: Port Charles will never look at him the same way again. Would you like me to expand this into a continuous single-paragraph style, like you often prefer for GH rewrites? To push it closer to 10,000 characters, or keep the current structured style with sections?